Thank you for turning to page 121. Today we're going to take a look at a Gamma World module that didn't exist but then did. The old Gamma World numbering system for their modules was, we got GW1 and GW2 for first edition modules, GW3, GW4 for second edition modules, and then GW6 and on for third. And everybody wondered, where the heck did GW5 go? What happened to Gamma World 5 module? The answer was this: Rapture of the Deep, GW5. This was produced by a group just describing themselves as Gamma World fans back in about 2007. That's the best info I could find, and that's actually what my memory tells me too. I found this guy really early in its existence, and it's a fan attempt to fill the gap that was left where GW5 was canceled. GW5 was supposedly going to be made by TSR. It was called Rapture of the Deep, but the project was shelved. I don't know why TSR then skipped the numbering. They've done that a couple of times in their modules. I don't know if it had to do with people they'd already paid some, for some work on it, if they felt they couldn't go forward with it. I don't know. If anybody does know, please leave a comment and let me know. But we got the Lost GW5 here back in 2007, and I enjoyed it. I ran parts of this for my guys. It's set off the coast of Florida, specifically southern Florida, down by Miami, called Mimi in here, and the Atlantic Z is the ocean that it's in. But I took some of this and I transplanted it up to Lake Michigan, which of course is Michigan, just outside of where Chicago had been. That's where my campaign is. So we're going to take a look at this guy and why this is a good adventure, but an even better source book. So we're going to take a look at that and just enjoy the Lost Gamma World module, GW5, Rapture of the Deep, today on page 121. GW5, Rapture of the Deep, or as one of my players christened it, Rupture of the Deep. It's a look under the sea. It's, as I said, it was done in 2007 by a bunch of Gamma World fans. And the credits here just list them as Design GW Online Community. So we get some nice artwork in here. This, of course, is not owned by the folks that wrote it. It's owned by TSR/WotC. But it's just a fan love letter to Gamma World, the Lost GW5. And then we get the introduction of the mysterious disappearances. Whole villages along the coast are disappearing. All the occupants are disappearing. The villages are virtually untouched. And what could be going on? The players are called in and then asked to investigate. That's a very standard TSR D&D type intro and reason for adventuring. In my Gamma World, things are a little less civilized. The players just happen to across this kind of stuff and help out or don't as they choose. And we get a look at the area around here, lots of encounters, and then what's going on in the various towns. The town of Land's End. And Land's End is one of the towns that's being attacked, and some of the people are being taken away and nobody knows why. Well, we find out that we have a new power group in this area called Rapture of the Deep, and these guys are the ones that are taking them away. So the long and the short of the adventure is you are supposed to get captured by these guys and then fight your way free. The truth of it is you better be pretty well equipped to take on this group. These guys have a lot of power, up to and including one of the vessels they have having the power of a death machine, all the weaponry. So you got to be ready, and you're probably going to lose some players on this. Now, I softened it a little bit because while I enjoyed the adventure, I felt it was a little challenging. But where this book really shines, in my opinion, is underwater adventure. If you want to take a group of people and put them under the sea, or under, in my case, Lake Michigan, this is definitely a great book for that. We get a nice look at the adventure, and I'm not going to spend a ton of time on the adventure because the best part of this book is after the adventure, in my opinion. So we go through the adventure, and the adventure is largely like I said. You're trying to figure out how these people have been captured. No one is found. There are a few people that are found who have passed away, but there's no signs of violence anywhere. The buildings are not destroyed. There's no fires. It's just the people are gone. While the bad guys are releasing a gas called Rapture of the Deep that basically makes everybody kind of subservient. They're unable to resist, and then they're whisked away in the surprising amount of undersea vehicles this group has. That was one of the neater things too, because that was something I had not explored yet in Gamma World before reading this. I'd never really done anything under the water other than the occasional character getting dragged in. Uh, so we get a nice look at the medical, or not the medical, but the underwater base these guys have. And if you can manage to survive this and somehow beat this group, this is a great place to have your characters have a base and become a real power group. The Cryptic Alliance that is the Rapture of the Deep, you're going to have a hard time fighting them. But if you somehow manage to win, boy, do you have a nice place to hang your cloak. So the sunken city of the ancients, Mimi, of course, Miami, which was sunken largely intact. A lot of the buildings are still intact and have been modified. They've even gone so far, the inhabitants in this area and the Cryptic Alliance have even gone so far as to salvage a full submarine. They got it about 90% operable. We get a bunch of different buildings that are around there. The Biltmore Hotel, Cape Florida Lighthouse. We get a lot of stuff that these folks have built up. This is definitely more of a completed area feel than most Gamma World. Most Gamma World is stumbling through the ruins and surviving from day to day. This is definitely a more completed area. And then with the Army of the Deep, the submarine project, the submarine I was talking about that they've salvaged, it's in really good condition. And then we get the main underwater base, Deep Station 4. So as I said, if you can somehow manage to not only survive this, but defeat these guys and take over all their stuff, you're going to be in a really good situation in Gamma Terra. So there we go. We get a new creature, the mutant squid. And I'm blowing past the adventure because I want to get to the appendices. Here we are. The Cryptic Alliance Army of the Deep. I think I called them Rapture of the Deep earlier. My apologies. They are the Army of the Deep using the gas Rapture of the Deep. The Army of the Deep is well organized, and the majority of its members are highly intelligent. This is a tough group to fight. If this group is played properly, the players probably aren't going to make it. Then we get new creatures. Boy, do we get a lot of new creatures in this. And that's one thing I love about Gamma World is getting new critters. They did a couple of monster compendiums for Gamma World in Dragon Magazine, where we actually got these creature folios in the heart of the magazine. I think they had 3 of them. These are so valuable. Because I've created plenty of creatures for Gamma World, but it's nice to see others that I didn't think about. So we get a lot of underwater dwelling creatures here. I really like that. And I'm going to attach a link where you can find this guy. It's completely free. It's all over the web. I found several places for it. I'll try to find a link that looks pretty benign, but actually you can find it on your own just typing in GW5 Rapture of the Deep, and you'll go right to one of the links. But I'll put a link below to this guy, and I recommend it. It's free. It's fun. To the folks that did it, thank you. This is obviously a labor of love, and one that took up a lot of time and a lot of effort. It's well conceived, well written, well thought out. I like it a great deal. I enjoy the new creatures. Here we get a nice sea spider, and we get their land speed, but we also get their water speed. Very important to this adventure. We got a lot of creatures in here. And now, coming out of the creature appendix, almost there. There are so many underwater rules. We get underwater rules for Gamma World. That was pretty nice. I had already made quite a few by the time I read this in 07. I'd been running Gamma World by that point for over 20 years, over 25 years. So I had done quite a few underwater rules. But honestly, I'll admit, I've never really done a lot of underwater stuff. A few bases here and there that were underwater. And like I said, the occasional player character getting dragged into the water by a monster. But that was really about it. Now we get new equipment in the blue-green lasers and the blue-green laser pistol. This is really nice. And then we get a bunch of really nice maps at the end. So there we have the Gulf of Mexico, Land's End itself. Mimi, of course, is the city. And there we go. This is the sunken city of Mimi. It's not sunken so much as it's underwater, as in the water rose, not that the city itself sank. There's a nice layout of the submarine that they've salvaged. Very powerful group, the Army of the Deep. You have to be careful how you use this against your players. it might actually be easier to have them be part of the Army of the Deep, maybe working their way up in the ranks. Another way I've thought about running this. Because if you have them become prisoners and be at odds with the Army of the Deep, they better be pretty powerful. They better not only be pretty experienced, they better have a lot of good ancient technology. So there we have it. That's a real quick look at the Lost Adventure for Gamma World GW5 Rapture of the Deep. Fan letter made available to all of us just because. So there you have it. I'll put the link below. That's it. I hope you like this look at GW5. If you did, please like and subscribe. I didn't say anything about subscribers or patrons, so I'll say it at the end. Please do. That helps keep the channel going and growing. I need both to continue to happen. So please do. And also take a look at my Patreon. I've got a poll going over there now. It's free. You can just go on my Patreon page. I'll put a link to that below also. Go on my Patreon page and take a look at the poll. And then I'm looking for games that I have run that you might want to see featured on the channel. So that's it. That's all I've got today from page 121. I want to thank you for your time, and I'll see you next time.